The Destiny 2 Iron Banner Fusion Rifle, the Wizened Rebuke, is now obsolete. If you get some good ones, great, but I highly recommend you save your legendary shards. Now LEGO, you said the Wizened Rebuke was pretty awesome since it had backup plan, and backup plan is pretty legit on high impact fusion rifles. Yeah, I kinda did, but that was before King's Fall brought Midha's Reckoning. Let's get into it. Midha's Reckoning is better than the Wizened Rebuke in almost every way. It's driving me more insane the longer I look at these two fusion rifles side by side. Since I already did deep dives on both of them and their perk combinations, I'm going to generalize slightly for the time to kill values and just tell you which one's faster. But the deep dives to both of them will be linked at the end of this video if you want the exact numbers and math on everything. I love getting into all that, but I already did it, so definitely go check those out after this video once you've decided which fusion you're wanting to look into more. Now for the comparison between these two. First off, we have to take notice of the ways that they're similar and how that eliminates the need to hang on to both of them. They are the only two high-impact fusion rifles currently available, unless Xur sells Iota Draconis, of course. They're both arc element fusion rifles, so they occupy the same energy weapon slot, and they're both capable of rolling backup plan and an accuracy perk to help connect the bolts. That's about where the similarities end. Now, before I absolutely destroy the Wizened Rebuke, I want to say I stand by everything I said about this in my previous review. It's not that it's bad, it's just that Midha's is worlds above it. And since they're both arc, there's just no reason to keep both of them. This is partially good news for those of you that are unable to raid or raiding's just not your thing. It just blows my mind that one of them is not a different element, since they're the only two high impacts that are currently available in the game. But like I said, for it to just go with the Arc 3.0 theme this season, it's not that bad if you're not able to get a raid group together. Okay, it's time to trash this thing. Wizened, you served your purpose and gave us joy, but it's time for us to move on. This is just gonna get worse and worse for the Iron Banner Fusion Rifle as we go on, so stick with me, it gets pretty awesome. At base, the stats are pretty comparable between the two fusions, but where it matters to me, Midha's Reckoning is better. Midha's has 52 range, 1 more than Wizened. It has 68 aim assist, 6 more than Wizened, and 78 recoil direction, 6 more than Wizened. Wizened does have more stability, but that just doesn't matter to me that much on this archetype of fusion rifle. The most important stat to me there, as most of you know, is aim assist. Aim assist is what helps your bolts connect, and 6 more aim assist is more than a targeting adjuster weapon mod will give you, which would only be 5. So having 6 extra is no joke, that's really great. Midha's Reckoning also has 6 more recoil direction than Wizened Rebuke. It leans the recoil more right than left, but overall will have a tighter recoil pattern towards the vertical direction since the number's higher. Okay, now I'm not done with the stats yet. Before we move on to perks, which are the real Wizened Rebuke killer here, I also have to mention that Midha's Reckoning is craftable. Now that's not just good for the enhanced perks and getting exactly what you want, that's also good because craftable weapons now get the same +2 stat bonus to their stat spread as adept weapons do. It just happens once the craftable weapon reaches level 20, so there's another advantage in the stats right there. Alright, the perks. Man, how do I even start this? Okay, I'll start with this. There are hardly any rolls you can get on Midha's Reckoning that are outright bad rolls. They've swapped up the normal perk combination so much on Midha's Reckoning that I'll often find myself going, oh, wait, is this one really great? Should I try this one out just to be sure? Whereas the Wizened Rebuke is just an immediate yes or no. You know immediately whether you're trashing or not. I'm talking both PvE and PvP, Midha's just destroys the Wizened Rebuke. For PvP, Midha's brings both the backup plan and successful warm-up combo and the backup plan and kickstart combo. Both just incredible game-breaking, speed-boosting fusion rifle perk combos that we have never seen before due to their placement in the perk columns. Backup plan and successful warm-up on a high impact has to be one of the best combos for a high impact that has ever been introduced. You can have time to kill values about as fast as a rapid fire on your first shot, and then continue to be faster than a rapid fire on your follow-up shots with successful warm-up. Backup plan and kickstart is just an insanely fast burst of damage that will be great for that one big elimination if you're not going for double kills. Wizened Rebuke just has backup plan, and that's it. There's no other speed boosting things you can do to stack on top of it. Sure, you've got some of the same perks, successful warm-up and cornered, but you can't stack any of those together to go really crazy. Midha's Reckoning, quite frankly, breaks the mold of what you're used to seeing with perks and lets you stack backup plan or cornered with successful warm-up or kickstart, which is crazy. I'm telling you, watch the Midha's Reckoning deep dive when you finish this one. Even if you boil it down to Wizened Rebuke having under pressure and backup plan together, Midha's Reckoning has backup plan and tap the trigger, and both those perks can be enhanced backup plan and enhanced tap the trigger once you craft the fusion rifle. On top of that, Midha's Reckoning also has damage perks that the Wizened Rebuke does not have. I'm not just talking Vorpal, I'm talking Midha's Golden Tricorn perk. I think there is a fair share of the community that just stays away from this perk because not a lot of people are talking about it in the perk description so long that it just sounds complicated to proc, but at minimum, it's a 15% damage buff that lasts for 7 seconds after a kill, and that's even longer with the enhanced version. And then if you get Golden Tricorn times 2 to proc by getting a grenade or a melee kill of matching element afterwards, which is not hard with a Striker Titan shoulder charge or Warlock's new Lightning Surge melee, then you're doing 50% more damage. That's a 2-bolt kill at any resilience level. Hello? Plus the buff lasts for 10 seconds at that point. So it's no question in PvP, Midha's Reckoning makes the Wizened Rebuke obsolete. What about PvE? Well, I already covered some of the damage stacking with Golden Tricorn. The same thing applies to PvE, but it's even easier to proc and keep going. But Midha's Reckoning has something even more insane that I'm sure you've all heard of already. Reservoir Burst. Just the simple fact that Midha's has this and Wizened Rebuke doesn't puts Midha's a step ahead. But then Midha's takes it a step further by having an intrinsic raid trait called Runneth Over that will overfill your magazine when you reload based off of how many allies are near you. And every extra shot that Runneth Over provides will proc Reservoir Burst. That is a lot of explosions. Now just with that, Wizened Rebuke has nothing to compete against it. But Midha's Reckoning goes on to add Surrounded to its perk pool, which can be crafted to be enhanced Surrounded, which only a handful of weapons in the entire game even has access to, and can provide a total of 47% damage boost when active with Surrounded spec on. Plus we've got amazing other perks, like Field Prep, Pugilist, and Unrelenting for PvE, none of which Wizened Rebuke has. Also, side note, Unrelenting will proc health regen with multi-kill explosions from Reservoir Burst. That's incredible. Okay, are y'all with me now? Midha's Reckoning is in another league. For both PvE and PvP, if the Wizened Rebuke had Iron Reach or Rangefinder, it could have potentially set itself aside by having some unique range stats that other high impacts couldn't attain, but as it is, there's no reason to keep your Wizened Rebuke. Don't waste your legendary shards on new rolls unless you know you won't be raiding this season, which, no judgment if that's the case, I've been there myself, I know how it goes. But if you're doing the raid, it's time to let the Wizened Rebuke Iron Banner Fusion Rifle go. I hope you enjoyed this side-by-side comparison and it helped you decide where to spend your time this season, or at minimum, helped you clean out your vaults. If you like the breakdowns like this, be sure to sub and stick around, and if you want to dig deeper into either of these fusion rifles, I know you'll enjoy my individual guides for each of them. Until next time, GG. Fusion rifle, the Destiny 2 Iron Banner Fusion Rifle, the Destiny 2, oh dang it.